Today we're going to talk about our one-step division equations. We're going to solve those. Just a reminder, our 3 steps to solve for the variable is 1, perform the inverse operation. 2, do the same operation on the other side of the equal sign to keep it balanced. And number 3, you're going to solve it. So our goal is to isolate the variable, and these are the steps in order for you to do that. Isolating the variable will help us figure out what the value of the variable is. So let's look at number 4. You have 3/4 equals 1/4 W. Look at the side with the variable. That's the side that you need to perform your steps on. Well, 1/4 times W is the same thing as saying W over 4. And remember, your fraction bar means division. Well, step 1, what's the opposite operation, your inverse operation of division? It is multiplication. So I am going to multiply this side by 4. Actually, remember, if it's in parentheses, it means multiplication. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side. Why? I want to keep it balanced. And this is really 4 over 1. So if I multiply it, 4 times W, that's going to give me 4W, and 1 times 4 is going to give me 4. And then over here, 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 4 is 4. Then I can simplify this. 4 goes into 4 one time, and 1 times W is going to equal W. And then 12 divided by 4 is going to give me 3. And I like my variables on the left, so I'm just going to switch it and put the variable on the left. So I believe the value for W is 3, but let me check. Let me bring it back up here. And if I substitute the 3 in for the W, I'm going to go to this one because it's easier for me to see. Isn't 3/4 equal to 3/4? Isn't that the same thing? Yes. So I know I did the correct. I know my steps were correct. Okay, same thing with number 5. P's over next to the side. It's just saying 1 times P and then 5 times 1. So I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to write it with P over 5. And now it's easier for me to see what's happening. Because when I have it like this, it makes me feel like it's being multiplied. And then I want to divide it, which I can. But when I have a number in the numerator, sometimes it can get confusing. So just go ahead and put your variable up in the numerator when they're being multiplied. Now I can see that P is being divided by 5. What's the inverse operation? Multiplication. So I am going to multiply this by 5 to get rid of this 5. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. And then I solve. This is the same thing as saying 5 over 1. So 5 times P is going to give me 5P. And then 5 times 1 is going to give me 5. And 5 times 5 is 25. I don't need to put it over 1 because this isn't a fraction. And I didn't need to put it over 5 or over 1 over here either. But it's easier, it's more brain friendly if I write what I'm multiplying as a fraction, if I'm multiplying it with a fraction. And now I just solve it. 5 divided by 5 will give me 1. And 1 times P is going to equal P. And then I can't do anything with 25. It just stays 25. And again, I'm going to switch. I'm going to do the commutative property. I'm going to flip them around because I like my variable on the left. Okay. Number 6. Do you see how this has a variable on top? It's the same way that I did in 4 and 5. I just went ahead and put the variable on top. Well, that's exactly what is happening here. What's happening to the k was the fraction bar mean, means it's being divided. So if I am dividing this by 2, then I want to multiply it by 2. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other because I want to keep it balanced. And 2 times k is 2k. Remember, I always want to write my number in front of the variable, make it a coefficient. And then 2 times 1 is 2. Come over here, 2 times 7 is 14. And then I just simplify this. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times k is going to give me k. And then I like my variable on the left. It's brain friendly for me. Now, in all 3 of these problems, I did the math on it and brought it down to W. But if you see in each one of these, all I really had to do was cross those out, and it would have just left me with W by itself. I could have just crossed off the 5s, and it would have just left me with P. I could have crossed off the 2s, and it would have just left me with K. The only reason I did this is to show you what is actually happening. All right, let's jump down to number 7. 7, you have 9 equals R divided by 13. What's the inverse operation of division? Multiplication. Whatever I do to one side, I want to do to the other side. And I'm just going to cross these off because I know once I multiply it through and then divide it, it's going to give me 1 times R. Then that's just going to give me R. And then this looks like a B, but it's supposed to be a 13. 13 times 9 is 117, I hope. Check my math, make sure I'm right. And then I flip it around. And then I can always plug it back into my calculator. Take the value, substitute it in for R. So 117 divided by 13 should give me 9. Number 8, what is happening to your variable? It is being divided by 14. Well, first step, inverse operation. Inverse operation would be a multiplication. What am I multiplying? I am multiplying by the number I am trying to get rid of, 14. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. Keep it balanced. And then I know my 14s will cross out to be 1, and 1 times C is just going to give me C. And then 14 times 2.2, 30.8. I like to have my variables on the left, so I will switch that around. And then check yourself. Make sure you plug in your 30.8 for C. Substitute it in there. Divide by 14, and you should get 2.2. Pardon me. All right, and then number 9, you have 0.5 equals D divided by 10. Now this is equivalent. So I need to find the value of this. What is D? Well, D is being divided by 10. First step, inverse operation. If it's being divided, I know I'm going to multiply it by 10. Because this is an equivalent problem, I know that as soon as I multiply it by 10, it's going to make it unbalanced. So I need to make sure I multiply the other side by 10 as well to keep it balanced. And then my 10s will cross off, giving me 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 times D is going to give me D. And then I need to do the other side. 10 times 0.5. And remember, when you multiply by a 10, you just move it over 1, the decimal over 1. So D should equal 5. And then if I plug in my 5 into for my variable, 5/10, and what is this? It's in the tens place, 5/10. I know I did it correctly. So I'm going to give you a problem to do. I want you to write this problem down, and then I want you to pause the video, and I want you to solve it on your own, and then check back with me to see how you did it. So let's do 4.7 equals r over 5. Go ahead and pause it now, solve it, and then check your answers with me. I look at the side that has the variable. The right side does what's happening to the variable. It's being divided by 5. If it's being divided by 5, it means I need to multiply it by 5 to get rid of it, to isolate my variable. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. This will give me r equals, and then I multiply 5 times 4.7, should give me 23.5. Did you get that answer? If so, great job. All right, let's do d over 11 equals 0.3. Pause the video, solve it, and then check back with me for your answer. Look for the side that has the variable. I have d on the left side. What's happening to d? It's being divided by 11. Inverse operation of division, multiplication. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side to keep it balanced. 11 divided by 11 will be 1, so 1 times d is going to be d. And then you have 0.3 times 11. So what is that? 3.3. Did you move it over 1? Is this what you got? If so, great job. All right, let's look at another one. What if you have r divided by 1/3 equals 1.9? Pause the video, solve, check back with me. Well, I see that r is being divided by 0.3, so the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply it by 1/3. Not 1/3, by 0.3. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side. And then I'm going to just show you the math on this one more time because I just want you to remember what's happening. Since this is in fraction form, I'm going to write this as a fraction. 0.3 times r is going to give you 0.3r, and then 1 times 0.3 will give you 0.3 equals 1.9 times 0.3, 5.7. All right. Use my calculator. 27. No, I feel like I did something wrong on that one. Is it 0.57? Okay. 1.9 times 0.3 equals, I thought I was wrong on that one. All right, 0.57. What is happening over here? I have 0.3 over 0.3. So 0.3 divided by 0.3 would give me 1. 1 times r will give me r. And you have 0.57. Nothing changed on that. I'm going to give you one more problem, and it's going to look a little different. You have 5, 6k equals 1, 6. Now, do you remember how to turn your 5/6 into 1. Do you remember what you had to do to that to get rid of it? Do you remember taking the reciprocal? Because even if I wrote it with the K up in the top, like I told you previously, go ahead and just take the variable and put it on top. If I just multiply this, you have 5K divided by 6. If I only multiply it, the inverse operation by 6, then that is only going to get rid of my 6. I'm still going to have that 5. So do you remember talking about the inverse operation? I mean, not the inverse operation, the reciprocal? Taking both of these, the numerator and the denominator, and flipping them around. Now, when I multiply this, I would have 6 times 5 is 30, and then 5 times 6 is 30. With the K, wouldn't these cross off and give me 1? And then 1 times K would be K. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to isolate it. So if I'm doing that, if I'm multiplying it by the reciprocal, I do it to the exact same side, not to the exact same side, I do it to the other side because I want to keep this equation balanced. This was balanced the way it was. As soon as I multiplied it by 6/5, it made it unbalanced. So to keep it balanced, I have to do the exact same thing to the other side. Now, 1 times 6 would give me 6, and 6 times 5 is going to give me 30. And then can I simplify that? Yes, I can divide both of them by 6. And if I do that, that would give me K would equal 1/5. All right, and then I can always substitute the 1/5 up for K. So 5/6 times 1/5, and it would give me 1/6. Great job today, guys.